from Rockline as we take it live and nationwide with BC and his guest members of The Doors on 95.5 KLOS.
Live via satellite from Hollywood, it's Rockline, the show where you interview the hottest stars in rock and roll. Hello again, I'm Bob Coburn. Rockline is brought to you in part by Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you. And by Levi Strauss & Company, makers of 501 jeans. Tonight, Rockline is an evening with the Doors, featuring Robby, Krieger, and Ray Manzarek, plus Doors historian and author of No One Here Gets Out Alive, Danny Sugerman. So get your questions ready and call us toll-free in the U.S. and Canada. 1-800-344-ROCK. That's 1-800-344-7625. One number toll-free from anywhere in North America. The Doors remain one of the most remarkable stories in all of rock and roll. Vocalist, poet Jim Morrison perished just over 16 years ago, yet in many respects the band is more popular today than when it was firing on all four cylinders in the late 60s and early 70s. The reason is simple. Their music is, indeed, your special friend. And Rockline welcomes from the Doors Robby Krieger. Nice to have you back.
Hey, nice to be here.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
And Ray Manzarek is with us this evening. Ray, welcome back to Rockline.
Oh, pleasure to be here, man. Pleasure.
And I also would like to welcome joining us tonight Danny Sugerman, the Doors' former press agent, manager, spokesman, and author of No One Here Gets Out Alive, and also the Doors' illustrated history. Danny, it's a pleasure to have you on your first Rockline appearance.
It's nice to be here, Bob. Thanks for inviting me.
First thing I want to mention is that John Dinsmore, drummer for the band, had intended to be here, but I guess he is caught in transit. He missed a flight somewhere in the middle of the country and could not make it.
Yep. Too bad, John. I hope you're listening out there somewhere. John should be somewhere between Denver and San Francisco or Los Angeles.
Well, we've got all that area covered with Rockline affiliates. So
listen up, John.
Yeah, there you go. First thing I want to ask you, gentlemen, tonight, obviously this concert was available a long, long time ago. Why wasn't it released previously, and what led to its release currently?
Well, what we're talking about is The Doors live at the Hollywood Bowl, a new video, full-length concert out on MCA Home Video. And it was recorded July 5th, 1968, our sort of triumphal return to Los Angeles. At the time, we had grown from being a street band in Los Angeles, just playing the little clubs and whatnot, coming out of the beach in Venice, worked our way up to the Sunset Strip, and finally hit the big time, if you will. We played where Stravinsky's music was played, where Aaron Copland conducted, where Miles Davis played, the Hollywood Bowl. So we decided, we were filming at the time, had some friends from UCLA along with us. Jim and I went to the film school at UCLA, so we had a couple of guys that would come around with us. Paul Ferraro was our director of photography, and we set up a four-camera shoot and a complete sync sound with Paul Rothschild, our producer, and Bruce Botnick, our engineer, recording it, and decided to record our perhaps once-in-a-lifetime Hollywood Bowl performance. Now we run into a few technical problems. Due to a glitch in Jim's vocal mic, one of the cords went bad, the direct line feed to the 16-track machine. We had some glitches in his vocal mic. Nothing we could do about it. We thought at the time, well, you know, there's nothing we can do. When the Music's Over is the opening song, and it had 7 or 8 minutes of problems with it. But lo and behold, along comes digital technology. Paul Rothschild transferred everything over to digital, the analog tracks to digital. We sent the individual Jim Morrison vocal track up to San Francisco, a place called Sonic Solutions, and they de-glitched. I don't know how they did it. They took the numerical parameters of his voice and of the glitches and separated the glitches from the vocal track. And lo and behold, through the magic of digital technology, we have a clean vocal track. Exactly. So this is about a year ago that we got started on the project. And because of video technology and digital technology, we were able to fix a few things that were out of sync in the cameras, because at the time the cameras were not running at the exact correct speed. And all the technical problems were fixed. Plus the fact that it's an hour concert. Well, in a film, what could you do with an hour filmed concert? Well, video, home videos, is the perfect media for showing a rock video. So we thought, well, now, finally, due to all the technology, we can bring it out and let everybody see what the 60s, what the Doors live at the Hollywood Bowl was all about.
I viewed it over the weekend, and if it were not for the fact that you knew that it had been recorded a long time ago, and the hair and the crowd and the audience and clothing and whatnot, you would swear that it was done last week. It's remarkably fresh fresh and current, very contemporary. We're going to start off musically this evening with the song that really began it for the Doors in terms of this being side one, cut one, and the first album back in 1967, Break On Through on Rockline.
You know the day destroys the night, night divides the day. Try to run, try to hide, break on through to the other side, break on through to the other side, break on through to the other side, yeah. We chased our pleasures here, dug our treasures there, but can you still recall the time we cried, break on through to the other side, break on through to the other side. I found an island in your arms, country in your eyes, arms that changes, eyes that line. Break on through to the other side, break on through to the other side, break on through, oh yeah! Made to see, week to week, day to day, hour to hour, day to straight, deep and wide. Break on through to the other side, break on through to the other side, break on through, break on through, break on through, break on through.
Break On Through by the Doors, my guest tonight on Rockline. I'm Bob Coburn. That is digitally remastered and remixed from The Best of the Doors, which is just now shipping in the United States. The European version has been available for a little while. Let's take our first call tonight. It is from Bridgeport, Connecticut, as we talk to Holly, listening to I-95. Good evening, Holly.
Hi.
Hi, Holly.
Hello.
Hi. I just wanted to tell you that I'm just turning 20 this year also, and I'm a big Doors fan, and so this is a real thrill for me. I just wanted to know that with people like Jimmy Page and Jeff Beck and the Stones and Clapton still making music today, do you guys think that if Morrison hadn't died that you'd still be making music today?
I think we would. I think definitely we would, because, Jim was, that was his whole life. And, we had plans to continue in kind of a bluesy vein, before Jim died.
Yeah, I think we'd still be working on music. We wouldn't be recording quite as furiously as we did in the 60s, being a bit older than we were then. We'd probably be putting out an album every year or two, and working on film projects and theatrical things and poetry readings and stuff like that. It would all stretch out, and we'd be getting into all kinds of different artistic avenues.
I think if Jim would have lived, you would have done something like American Prayer. I like to think of that as sort of a continuation in the Doors' poetic and rock and roll tradition.
Right.
Danny Sugerman talking last there, Ray before him, and Robby starting us off so you can get a fix on the voices there at home or in your car. Holly, thank you for starting us off. We'll take a brief time out and return in just one moment. Your number to call is toll-free from anywhere in North America. There's only one number for the one and only Rockline. It's 1-800-344-ROCK.
On Rockline tonight with BC and members of the Doors. You can call in toll-free and talk with them if you like. 1-800-344-ROCK on Rockline at 95.5 KLOS.
Welcome back to Rockline. It's an evening with the Doors. I'm Bob Coburn. We're with Ray Manzarek, Robby Krieger, and Danny Sugerman this evening. We have a new affiliate we'd like to welcome tonight. It's a great night to be joining Rockline, too, I'll tell you that. CFRQ in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. Glad to have you aboard, and we'd love to hear from you this evening. Our next call is from Fall River, Massachusetts. It's Kevin who would like to talk with the Doors, and Danny. He is a listener of 94 HJY in Providence. And Kevin, you're on the air with us now.
Hi, how you guys doing?
Okay, man.
Hi, Kevin.
I was wondering what you're doing musically now.
Yeah, good question.
Right.
Well, let's see. I just played back east, as a matter of fact, up in Northampton, Massachusetts, and Boston, Massachusetts, with a poet, Michael McClure. And he reads his poetry, and I do piano improvisations behind his poetry. So that's one of the things I've been working on, and also working on some music with my son. I've got a 13-year-old son, Pablo, and he handles the percussion end of it and the computers. I work the synthesizers. He works the drum machines and the drums, and we're working on an album together called the Bamboo Jungle that hopefully will get out sometime in the next year.
Look forward to that. And Robby, what about you?
Well, I recently was at a birthday party for Les Paul, who has been with Gibson for a long time, and I have a deal with Gibson right now that we're putting out a Robby Krieger Gibson guitar, and that's pretty much what I've been doing.
You also have a record label, too, don't you? 4D Records that you've been issuing some releases on.
Yeah, it's not quite happening, sorry.
Okay.
It's not really happening right now.
Okay, we're going to move on now. Thank you, Kevin, for being on the air, by the way. We're going to now take a call from Dundas, Ontario, as we talk to Grant. He is listening to Q107 in Toronto. And Grant, we welcome you to the Rockline.
Hi, how are you guys doing?
Okay, man.
Oh, that's good. My question was, when you guys started out, I guess the way of promoting your shows was through just live appearances and on TV and concerts. And I was wondering, how do you feel about the current trend of bands using videos to promote themselves? Do you feel that it's helped the music, or has it done more to hinder the quality of the music coming out?
Well, that's a good question, man. It's like I love to watch bands on television. You know, I think it's great. You get to see the band playing their songs. A lot of the videos have gotten overproduced. I would be just as happy just watching the bands play their songs. You know, I don't think they need all the effects and everything that's going on. As far as I'm concerned, the music and the way the people look is more than enough. But it's gone a little overboard, and the production end of it has gone a little overboard. It lacks the danger of improvisation. Within improvisation lies the danger of music, and within that danger lies your freedom. And I think people are a little afraid of experimenting today because the times won't allow for it. A little bit too much of a quest for perfection right now.
There you go, Grant. Thank you for your call. We definitely appreciate you being on the air with us this evening, and call us again sometime. We're going to play a song now by the Doors called Hello, I Love You. And Dana, you had something to say.
Yeah, I want to dedicate Hello, I Love You to my friend Melissa.
All right, here we go on Rockline.
Tell me your name. Hello, I love you, let me jump in your game.
From the album Waiting for the Sun, Hello, I Love You, The Doors. My guest for the entire show this evening on Rockline, and Bob Coburn. Back to the phones to San Antonio this time. As we talk to Rick, he's listening to Kiss in San Antonio. Welcome to the Rockline, Rick.
How you doing, guys?
We're doing fine, man.
Hey, Rick.
I'm a little nervous talking to the door, just like a dream, but I'd like to ask Danny a question. I've got both of your books, and I've read them thoroughly, and I was wondering, you was at such a young age, 13, 14, when you was hanging around the Doors. What did your parents think about that, you know?
That's a good question, man.
Not a lot, Rick. Not a lot. They didn't like it. They didn't like it. I went through a lot of war with them. It was a time of a lot of rebellion in general, and I had an opportunity to hang out with the Doors, and I wasn't going to miss out on that. And my conservative father didn't take real neat to that. He had some other expectations for his kid besides answering fan mail for a rock star arrested for pulling down his pants in Miami.
Now, you started answering fan mail, then became press agent, and ultimately manager of the band.
Yeah. Been with him for a long time.
Well, it's interesting that you asked that question, man. Danny's working on a book right now, and he's going to tell all the stories of what it was like growing up absurd under the wing of Jim Morrison and the Doors. And it's called Wonderland Avenue. It should be out sometime in the spring. And it's just about ready. Wonderland Avenue. It's going to be a great book.
I understand the film rights have already gone to Oliver Stone, who has done Salvador and Platoon, so you're in good company there.
Right, and a producer named Gene Kirkwood, who did Officer and a Gentleman, and yeah, good team. I'm real excited about it, and it talks about growing up and the conflict between Jim Morrison and family, and Ray's in it, and Iggy Pop and Pamela Morrison, and I wanted to write a rock and roll novel, but you can't write a rock and roll novel. You can't make up Jim Morrison or Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones. You got,
Yeah.
How do you top the reality?
Yeah, I got to have the real thing.
Yeah.
Rick, thank you for your call and
Thanks,
for letting
Rick.
us talk about all kinds of things there. Let's move on now to Minnesota as we talk to Chris, listening to 92 KQRS. Good evening, Chris.
Hi, hey, Ray, Robbie, how's it going?
Okay,
Great.
man.
I got a couple of quick questions. There seems to be a major upswing in 60s music, and the people who made it, like the KBC Band and the Dead.
Right.
And I was wondering if you think music can ever have the same kind of effect politically and socially as it did in the late 60s.
Oh, it sure will, man. It's going to happen again. Yeah, absolutely. I think what's going on now is that people are examining the commitment to life that existed in the 60s. This is the 20th anniversary of 1967. Great year for the Doors and the Beatles and everybody else. Rolling Stone started in 67. Light My Fire was the #1 song in America the summer of 67. As a matter of fact, what's the date today? Is today the 27th?
27th. Tomorrow is exactly
Tomorrow
the 20th
is
anniversary of Light My Fire becoming #1 in the
#1
Billboard chart.
song in the nation.
Amazing.
Man, blew the Beatles away. And people are re-examining what was a social impact, what was psychedelic all about, what was the political, what were the people trying to say in the 60s? And man, I think we better start to say that again here in the last part of the 80s. Otherwise, the 90s are going to be a disaster. We've got to reinvent all the gods, all the myths of the ages, as Jim said. We've got to get that political, spiritual commitment one more time.
Fortunately, there are some bands that are making that commitment. I think of Little Steven, U2, Peter Gabriel,
exactly,
down the
man,
line.
right.
Another good call, Chris. Thank you for being on. We're going to talk now with a gentleman named Cannon. He is in Augusta, Georgia, listening to 96 JFX. Good evening, Cannon.
How you doing?
Okay, man.
Good.
I have two questions. One of them is, do you know, have any idea when the Soft Parade is going to be released on compact disc?
Yeah, pretty soon. We're re-EQing our entire catalog for CD, and it should be out within the next couple of months. We're going to have
September, October.
all the CDs that'll be coming out and all the records. We're going to re-EQ the entire catalog, man. It's going to sound absolutely great. What we have out right now is called The Best of the Doors. It's sort of a sampler. We've taken 3 or 4 songs from each album and we put them all together into a double CD, and it sounds absolutely great. It'll give you an indication of what the entire album's going to sound like.
Yeah, what the rest of
Or
the
all the rest of
catalog
the
will sound
albums.
like.
Yeah, exactly, man.
You can hear that on the air tonight on Rockline. Everything that we're going to play is on CD with the exception of the next song, and that's coming up next. So you hang in there as we take a brief time out. Your number to call is toll-free from anywhere in North America. Cannon, thank you for being on the air with us tonight. It's 1-800-344-ROCK. We're talking rock and roll on Rockline.
Time with BC and his guests Ray Manzarek and Robby Krieger from the Doors, and also author Danny Sugerman on 95.5 KLOS Los Angeles.
Welcome back to Rockline. It's an evening with the Doors. I'm Bob Coburn. My guests tonight, Ray Manzarek, Robby Krieger, and Danny Sugerman. I'm going to play a song now from the new EP, Live at the Hollywood Bowl, taken from the home video. This is a recently redoctored, I guess you might say, rediscovered version of Light My Fire. It's a terrific one, too. Let's listen to it now on Rockline.
Know that I would be a liar if I was to say to you, girl, we couldn't get much higher. Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Try to set the night on fire. Time to hesitate is through. No time to wallow in the mire. Try now, we can only lose, and a love become a funeral pyre. Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Try to set the night on fire.
Recorded July 5th, 1968, The Doors' Light My Fire on Rockline and the Global Satellite Network. I'm Bob Coburn, a song that's been covered by at least 5 different artists. Now, the credit on the writing has always been The Doors, but you wrote that, Robby, didn't you?
Yeah, as long as people don't think Jose Feliciano wrote it.
What was the intent of the band in listing all the songs as having been written by all 4 members?
The universal mind. The Doors functioned as 4 as 1. Ray equates it to the diamond, 4 sides as 1. I think Jim realized that there was no ego in the Doors. The musicians tended to forsake their individual ego to Jim's, and even the songs that Robby wrote, Jim was able to, in the public side, the public perceived it as Jim's songs, which shows how much everybody thought as one. And I think Jim recognized that. Jim Morrison, it's no accident in my eyes that Morrison never went solo like Janis or Hendrix, because he was really aware of the value of having 3 musicians giving up everything as well as him for a common goal.
Mm-hmm. Well stated, Danny. Thank you. There's a baseball player, just a sidelight here, named Jim Morrison, who plays for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Third baseman. Whenever he steps in the batter's box at Three Rivers, they play Light My Fire.
Oh, good.
You gotta love it. We're going to bring Cannon back on the air. He has another good question. He's in Augusta, Georgia, listening to 96 JFX. Cannon, welcome back.
How you doing?
Okay, man.
Okay, do the Doors plan to, or Electra, whatever, plan to release any more material in the future? I mean, any unreleased material?
Well, there isn't really any unreleased audio material. What we do have is we've got some more film performances. We've got some archival footage. We don't really have any tapes. We'd go into the recording studio and record basically what we were going to put down on the album. We'd have there are outtakes available, but it's like, you know, different takes of the same songs. We don't really have a lot of stuff. Hendrix used to go into the studio all the time. We'd get all our stuff together in rehearsal and know what we were going to record, go into the studio and do it, and that was the album. So
quality, not quantity.
I don't think there's really anything left. There's 1 or 2 little songs that are okay, that are just kind of cute little things. I don't think they'll ever see
We
the
might
light of
find
day.
some more stuff. Who knows?
Yeah, stuff turns up. Stuff does turn up.
But footage, we have some footage available. We've got a great performance of the Soft Parade that we did on a PBS show that we've been talking about releasing some point down the line.
Cook on that?
Although we
God.
have some technical problems. I'm not real happy with the sound on it, so we're going to have to see. I'm going to have to talk to Paul and say what kind of audio voodoo can we do on this one to get the sound right. But it's a great performance of the Soft Parade, and you may be seeing that, that in the next 2 years or so.
And it's great because it's an era of the Doors that we don't have a lot of this is the only documentation we have of that period, the Soft Parade, when Jim was after Miami and Jim was growing a beard, but still into the music and being a poet and working real hard, boy, just cooking in this performance. And one thing, too, that should be, there's a song called Who Scared You? That previously was on an album rather, called Weird Scenes Inside the Gold Mine. And to make room for the best of, we deleted 3 of the previously issued repackages. 13 is no longer being printed. Weird Scenes Inside the Gold Mine is no longer being printed, nor is a quadraphonic best of. Who Scared You? One of my favorite Doors songs. Again, Robby wrote that. I think you wrote it and Jim wrote the chorus, right?
Jim wrote the words, I wrote the music.
You wrote the music, okay. We'll be appearing on the CD version of the classics sometime next year.
Great.
So if that album drops out of circulation and you can't find that song, don't worry. It's coming back and it'll sound better than ever.
So, by the way, if you have a copy of and if you don't have a copy of Weird Scenes Inside the Gold Mine, that's going to be a collector's item because there won't be any more printed of those. So I'd advise getting one and holding on to it because there ain't going to be no more.
Yeah.
Cannon, thank you for your call. Thanks for hanging on through the break and a long version of Light My Fire, too. Let's move now to Oklahoma City as we talk to Charles. He's listening to Rock 100 The Cat. Good evening, Charles.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Nothing much, man. We're here talking to you guys.
All right. I've read interviews by Ray and John Densmore, and you both said that you saw Jim Morrison slowly self-destruct, and you guys said that you watched him disintegrate, and I wanted to know why someone didn't, after what happened to Janis and Hendrix, try to help out Jim, because you both said you saw where he was headed, and why didn't somebody try to help him out?
Well, everybody tried to help him out, man. The man had a mind of his own. You see, when a man is as intense a poet and a liver of life as Jim Morrison is, you're not going to stop a man from doing what he wants to do with his life. I mean, we saw him slowly dissipating himself. We said to him, Jim, hey, man, you got to stop drinking. Jim said, listen, this is what I do. This is my life.
It's the same reason
man.
nobody could stop Jimmy or Janice from what they were doing.
Or Elvis.
You couldn't stop Elvis.
Jim was a real rebel, you know. Yeah, you couldn't say no to Jim.
And you have to understand also the seductiveness of his personality. The man was the most intense human being I'd ever met. And to walk up to him and say, hey, Jim, stop drinking. Hey, Jim, get a haircut. Hey, Jim, do this. You didn't do that. And you couldn't do that.
He was too powerful a figure. And also, you have to remember the times. In the 60s, it was live and let live and do your own thing. And if it feels good, do it. As trite as it sounds today, that's what was going on then. And everybody had their space. And Jim was real good at what he did, and he liked drinking.
And Morrison knew, I think, that he was going to go out, man.
He wanted to.
He said, we were sitting on the beach, and he said, Ray, how long do you think you're going to live? And I said, well, I'm going to go to 87. And he said, oh, not me, man. I see myself like a shooting star. You know, everybody is sitting around a campfire, and you look up and you say, hey, look, a shooting star. And it goes through the heavens, and then, pow, it's gone. And everyone goes, wow, man, did you see that? That was Morrison, a shooting star. And he did it.
He's gone, but his music still touches us.
Come on, now touch me, baby. Can't you see that I am not afraid? What was that promise that you made? Why won't you tell me what she said? What was that promise that you made? Now I'm gonna love you till the heavens stop the rain. Come on, now touch me, baby. Can't you see that I am not afraid? What was that promise that you made? Why won't you tell me what she said? What was that promise that you made? I'm gonna love you till the heavens stop the rain. I'm gonna love you till the stars fall from the sky. For you and I'm gonna love you till the heavens stop the rain. I'm gonna love you till the stars fall from the sky. For you and
Stronger Than Dirt, which was a soap ad, which was popular at the time.
Ajax.
The Doors with Touch Me from the Soft Parade. Is it Ajax? Is that what it was? Yeah?
Yeah.
Stronger Than Dirt. Let's head back to the phones here. We go to Dallas this time as we talk with Bradley, listening to Q102. You're on the Rockline, Bradley.
Hey, yeah, guys, how's it going?
All right, Brad.
Hey, Bradley.
Hey, well, my question is, if y'all ever thought about doing a sequel album to American Prayer?
Good question. Boy,
Yeah,
I
American
just
Prayer
asked
is a
Ray
great
about that this afternoon.
We did. We talked about that about an hour ago.
God.
Man. Yeah, that's funny.
Great album. Is there any of that material left? Ray?
Well, there is some poetry. Unfortunately, we as the Doors do not control that aspect of Jim Morrison's recorded poetry.
I like the Admiral and the Principal.
Yeah, so that's up to the estate of James Douglas Morrison as to whether or not any of that poetry will ever see the light of day. So unfortunately, that's not up to the Doors, man. So we can't say whether or not anything will ever happen with it.
It is there, though, Bradley, and that was a great call, obviously. Thank you for being on this
Thanks
evening.
for calling,
Let's
Brad.
head now to St. Louis as we talk to Ricky. He's listening to KC95. Ricky, I'd like you to meet Ray and Robby from the Doors and Danny Sugerman as well.
Hi, how you guys doing?
Okay, man.
I was wondering if, while Jim Morrison was writing his poetry, was he on the effects of drugs or...
Maybe.
He was not a drug addict. He wrote on psychedelic drugs sometimes, and he wrote straight sometimes, and sometimes he'd write on alcohol.
Actually, truth be known, I believe when Jim was writing the Doors songs to the first two albums and a lot of the material that eventually appeared in The Lords and New Creatures, he was ingesting a lot of psychedelic drugs.
See, the thing is that the 60s were not, it was not a matter of heroin, cocaine, and angel dust. Those are medicinal drugs that are not meant to be taken for anything other than medicinal purposes. Cocaine is a number that you rub on your gums and the dentist operates on you, on your teeth. Heroin is a painkiller. When you've been wounded in battle, you take heroin to ease the pain. Angel dust and like that kind of stuff are tranquilizers, animal tranquilizers. The whole point of the 60s was a psychedelic revolution. It had to do with opening the doors in your mind so you could see reality for what it was and see the universal implications of reality. Morrison was in touch with the universal spirit of creation. That's what we all have to do. We all have to get in touch with that universal spirit. You can call it God or anything you want. The energy force, the pure energy that permeates everything. That's what psychedelics were all about.
But it takes a lot of strength, I got to point out, to resist the seduction of that. And even Jim wasn't ultimately strong enough to
Well,
do
we
that.
see what happened to Jim in the long run.
Yeah,
He
so
was
be
so much in
careful.
touch with those forces that maybe he had to numb himself a little bit with the booze in the later years,
Yeah.
It's a very frank answer for you, Ricky, and certainly not an endorsement from the band or from Danny. We move on now to Alpena, Michigan, as we talk to Gary, listening to HSB FM 108. Gary, you're on the Rockline with us.
Okay. My question is for Ray and Robby both. What I want to know is, when you first started out to write songs, did you originally set out to unite music and poetry, or was that just something that you decided on later that you hit upon that you really liked?
I'd say that was right off the bat, man. It was Morrison's lyrics were extremely poetic. So it was a matter of, in the 50s, there was something called the beatniks, and they used to do poetry and jazz. What we set out to do was an attempt at doing the same thing, except do poetry and rock and roll. Instead of just doing jazz, Robby played flamenco guitar and bottleneck guitar, and I studied some classical music and played jazz, and we all played the blues, and John was a great jazz drummer. So we tried to combine all those elements with poetry to make rock and roll and poetry.
Well, from the very beginning of the band, the day on Venice Beach, when you and Jim met, and Jim read some lyrics, that was the very beginning of the band, actually.
Those were the best lyrics I'd ever heard, man. I thought it was more than rock and roll. It was more than just song lyrics. It was poetry, and the poetry could be set to music. And John and Robby and I provided the musical framework for Jim's poetry.
We'll be back in just one moment with the title track of one of the Doors albums, one of their later releases. As we return to Rockline in just one moment, a reminder, we are live, so call us now, toll-free from anywhere in North America, 1-800-344-ROCK. We're talking rock and roll on Rockline.
With BC and the Doors on 95.5 KLOS.
Once again, welcome back to Rockline. I'm Bob Coburn. It's an evening with the Doors. We have a couple of contest winners I want to say hello to this evening. Some listeners of KC in St. Louis, Dan and Carol Herzogenrath. Nice to have you here. Nice to see you. And also the listeners of 95.5 KLOS in Los Angeles, Suzanne and Paul Howdeshow. They have won a contest at KLOS and also picked up an electric guitar that's going to be autographed by Robby Krieger. Right now we play the title track of this album on the Rockline Compact Disc Player. It's L.A. Woman.
hills are filled with fire. If they say I never loved you, you know they are a liar. Driving down your freeway, midnight alleys roam. Cops in cars, the topless cars, never saw a woman so alone, so alone, so alone, so alone. Motel money, letter madness, a chain of moves from glad to sadness. Mr. Mojo rising, Mr. Mojo rising, Mr. Mojo rising, Mr. Mojo rising, got to keep on rising, Mr. Mojo rising. Mr. Mojo rising, Mojo rising, got the mojo rising, Mr. Mojo rising, got to keep on rising, riding, riding, oh riding, riding, oh riding, riding, oh riding, riding.
Title track of L.A. Woman, The Doors on Rockline. I'm Bob Coburn. Let's go back to the telephones as we talk to Todd in New Buffalo, Illinois, listening to Chicago's Loop FM 98. Good evening, Todd.
Good evening. I have two quick questions for the gentleman. First of all, I had heard on the news about a Morrison poetry being discovered.
Yes,
Right.
indeed. A
Yes.
small locked box, man, marked 127 Fascination, about the size of an attaché case, made out of metal. And it had a little lock on it. And
Up in San Francisco.
Up in San Francisco. It contains the last writings of James Douglas Morrison written in Paris.
And what's really interesting is that we all assumed that Jim had written poetry in Paris. but nobody knew where it was,
No
or
evidence
if
of it,
for
yeah.
sure he did. And no one here gets out alive. I had to conclude, although Pam had told me that he had written, she also said he lost weight, he stopped drinking and smoking, and he didn't do any of those things. So I had to conclude in the book that he hadn't written any poetry. And boy, I saw it. Not only did he write poetry, but it was brilliant.
Yeah, some
I mean,
great stuff.
Jim really matured into an
Will the public get to
incredible-
see this?
Oh,
Well, we hope so. There's some
Something to
legal,
extend.
there's
They
again,
should,
there's
boy.
some legal battles as to who owns it. That's got to be settled by the various parties. And all I want to do is get my hands on the poetry, man, and get it, make sure it gets out to the public.
Yeah.
Because Jim obviously went to Paris. That was the whole point of his going to Paris to write
right, like
poetry.
Hemingway and
That's
his
what he was going
heroes,
to do.
yeah.
And he wrote a whole bunch of good stuff. I mean, we knew he was going to be writing some stuff in Paris, but we had no idea it was going to be as good as it is. So
Yeah.
hopefully it'll be out one of these days.
And Todd, your second question.
Yes. I was wondering if you had any idea if the poem, which I found to be great, Whiskey, Mystics, and Men, on any album out, or you know anything about that poem?
Yeah, well, that might be out one of these days. We put some music to that. We did that in the studio. It's one of the things that we sort of just did as a little aside and just a little jam kind of fooling around. We've never released it. It does exist. Somebody asked earlier if there was anything that existed that might come out in the future. Well, that's one of the things. There's that and maybe one or two others. A very small amount of stuff that exists. But Whiskey, Mystics, and Men, very good, man. I'm glad you know that one.
Jim Ladd included that on an interview, a friend of the Doors and Bob Coburn. Jim Ladd, an L.A. disc jockey, had a syndicated radio show named Interview. I don't know if we can talk about any competition, but he included it on that. So it's around, and if you look hard for it, it's out there, and it's a great poem.
There you go, Todd. A very good call. Thank you for being on tonight. Let's move now to Canada, to Calgary, Alberta, as we talk with Ron, a listener of Kick FM 107. Ron, you're on with the Doors and Danny.
Hi, guys.
Hey, man, how you doing up there? How's the weather up there?
Oh, it's pretty hot. It's about 32 up here.
Get out of here. Get out.
Celsius. Come on.
Oh, okay.
That's warm. Very warm. Yeah, right.
Okay, but recently when you guys received these platinum albums, what sort of memories did they bring back?
Oh, great times, man. Just absolutely unbelievable times. You know, times when Jim was alive, times when we were all young and strong and just vibrant, and
Now we're weak and old.
our best friend was alive, man, and it was...
But the thing is, Ray, a lot of these albums didn't go platinum until recently.
Yeah.
Well, what happened was, and I looked into this, was before 1976, platinum, which signifies 1 million copies sold, did not exist. And it was only recently, within the past year, that you could petition the RIAA, the Recording
Industry Association of America.
Right, and have them audit the record company's statements and qualify for platinum. The thing with the Doors, as impressive as those awards were, they only went to 1973. And what many people don't know is the Doors were the first American group to have 6 consecutive gold records, which is about 3 million copies right there. So all those sales through Jim's entire life through 1973 are unaccounted for in those platinum presentations. So from 1973 to 1987, the Doors have sold whatever millions those platinums represent. How'd you hear about that?
How'd you hear about that,
That
Ron?
just happened yesterday.
The paper.
The paper
Very good, man.
keeps on top
Very
of it.
good.
Yeah, there you go.
Amazing.
All right.
The 6 studio albums sell at a rate of around $1 million a year each.
Yeah, but we don't
they're
make any
platinum
money on
each
those.
year. No, I'm not making a cent off of those. No. That's platinum every year for the 6 studio albums.
Yeah, I
Ron, a
like
very good
those
call.
platinum.
Thank you for
Thanks,
being well
Ron.
informed and for being on. We
On
move now
top
to
of it.
Kansas City. Our station's KY 102, and this is Jim. Good evening.
Yeah, how's it going?
Fine, man.
Right.
My question's for Ray and Robby, and I was wondering if the Doors' radical style would had anything to do with them having to finance their own shows instead. Like nowadays, all the bands end up with some sponsor or something to foot the bill.
Well, in those days, no band had sponsors, I don't think.
Nope.
No, all the bands had to promote their own, or they'd have a promoter who would promote a bunch of shows.
That's a recent phenomenon.
Yeah, well, see, what happened with us, man, is we never did shows. It wasn't a show. It was a matter of life and death. You stepped out on that stage, and Morrison said, man, every time we'd go out, he said, You never know when you're going to be giving your last performance, man, so you better do everything you can possibly do this one time. This is it right here, right now. This is for all time. This is for God. This is for man. This is for the universe. You better do it, and do it to the best of your ability right here and right now.
I doubt if we could have got a sponsor anyway.
Good point, Robbie.
Along the line of finance and that type of thing, The Doors live at the Hollywood Bowl, the band paid to have it filmed. It wasn't like the record company or and anyone else. Right. The band paid for the camera people to be there and actually do the shoot and whatnot. So that gives you an idea how different things were back there, Jim. We're going to take a brief time out. We'll be back in just one moment. We have a couple of more great Doors songs to play. Plenty more telephone time for you to be on the air with The Doors live and nationwide in the United States and Canada. We're live. Call now at 1-800-344-ROCK. It's Rockline.
A great rock line. If you're just tuning in right now, it's BC with Ray Manzarek, Robby Krieger, and also author Danny Sugerman talking about The Doors on 95.5 KLOS.
Once again, Rockline returns to our evening with The Doors from the album Morrison Hotel. This is Roadhouse Blues.
Hey
Always wait for John to finish up there at the end. Let's talk about John for a moment. What has he been up to over the last few years? So our audience
Yeah, it's
is
too
aware
bad
of that.
John can't be here. He's lost out there somewhere, missed a flight or two, and got disconnected somewhere between Denver and Los Angeles. John's been pursuing an acting career. He's doing a lot of acting, doing a lot of TV, and doing some movie things, and pursuing a whole theatrical career.
He's been working
involved.
on a book.
And he's working on a book.
Yeah,
Now,
he's
that's
been
gonna be
writing real
exciting.
hard.
Yeah,
In fact,
yeah,
on this
yeah.
train ride he was on, I know he was writing.
Oh,
He's
that's
been
why
working
he's
on
not
it for a
here. He's
long
on a
time.
train.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah,
on a train
yeah, right.
and 2 planes and somewhere between here and New
Missed
York.
a lot of connections. Yeah, so he's going to be bringing out a book of the story of John Densmore in The Doors. So it should be very, very interesting.
I know he had done a one-man stage show in New York City called Skins and Tongues.
And he
also
did it
was
out here, yeah.
in a Malcolm McDowell film called Get Crazy. So
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
quite busy over the
Yeah.
years. Let's take a call from Atlanta now as we talk to Dean, listening to 96 Rock. Dean, welcome back.
How you doing, BC? How you doing, guys?
Just fine, man.
All right, got 2 questions for you. I'd like to ask you guys how you like the BOC version of Roadhouse Blues, and have you heard of the Back Doors, and what do you think about them?
Well, the BOC version of Roadhouse Blues is really terrific, and the Back Doors, Robbie, you were talking about the Back Doors.
Well, I met the Back Doors, but I didn't actually see him play. As a matter of fact, I'm playing on the BOC version of
Right, Robbie
the
played
live
on Roadhouse Blues.
Yeah.
Now you're talking, man.
There you
Yeah,
go.
That was an
Now you're
excellent
talking.
version.
And Ray, you played in concert with him at the sports arena.
Is that why the thing sounds so good, man? You're playing on it. No wonder I like it.
Down to the nitty-gritty here. Dean, thank you for your call. We appreciate it. Let's talk to Pat now as we head to Eugene, Oregon. KZL 96 is our station there. And Pat, you're on the Rockline with us.
Hello, Danny, Ray, Robbie, and Bob. How you
Hey, man.
Hi.
Great.
Hey, yeah.
First off, I'd like to say what an extreme honor it is talking to you guys, and happy anniversary.
Thank you.
I
Thank
got
you.
2 real quick questions for you.
Make it
At the time when the Doors were very popular, how did you guys compare yourselves to the other bands that were around?
Well, we thought we were very popular and very good, you know.
They were better.
If you've got a rock and roll band, you got to have big egos, man. Danny was talking earlier about how the fact of the Doors would give up all their own egos, individual egos, to the song, to the music, to the lyrics, to the beat of the song. You have to do that. You can't have an ego within the band, but then the collective ego of the Doors was
Enormous.
enormous.
Yeah, we never doubted that we were going to make it. We always knew we were going to make it.
We had an infinite ego.
And question number 2, please, Pat.
Okay. Robbie, on the video Touch Me, I've always been wondering is how did you have that black eye? I've always been wondering it. It stands out to me. If you can answer that, that'd be great.
Well, Jim got real mad at me right before the show, and he gave me a whack in the... No, not
Here's the
really.
story I heard, Robbie, is that the song was called Hit Me.
That's
You
true.
wrote it and it was called
God,
Hit Me, and
that's
Jim said, I ain't gonna sing a song in front of 3,500 people and say, come on, hit me.
That's right. I said, well, what about 2,500 people? Yeah. No, that is a true story, but actually I was in an auto wreck, and that's why I had a black eye.
I thought it was a fight, man.
Well,
I thought you got in a
okay,
fight.
it was a fight. Let's say it was.
More glamorous, right?
Wait a minute. What's the story? Okay. Well, good question, man.
There you
Caught
go,
that.
3 different versions, you pick one.
Thanks for your call, really. Choose one there. Let's talk to Eric now. He's in Kankakee, Illinois, listening to the Loop FM 98 in Chicago. Eric, you're on the Rockline.
Hi, guys.
Hiya, man.
Ray, I wanted to know, was the movie The Hitcher based on the song Riders on the Storm?
Boy, it certainly seemed that way, didn't it? It not to my knowledge, but it might have been floating in the unconscious of the guys who put that movie together. Yeah. Are you listening out of Chicago, man?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm from Chicago. I grew up on the south side of Chicago.
You know, Jim did a movie, or he wrote a movie, and he did
Highway.
produce it, called Highway. It was about a hitchhiker, and it was
Killer on
very
the road.
similar to The Hitcher.
There you go, Eric. Thank you for your call. We're going to take a time out. We'll be back in just one moment. We had intended to play another song, but we want to talk with the gentleman this evening, so we're going to do that. Your number is toll-free from anywhere in North America. It's 1-800-344-ROCK. Give us a call. We'll put you on the rock line.
D. Sanis is coming up here in just a minute with a lot more rock and roll. Let's return now to the conclusion of Rockline with BC and the Doors on 95.5 KLOS. Congratulations, Dodgers, by the way, beating the Giants 6-5. Have mercy.
Welcome back to Rockline. It's an evening with the Doors. Danny Sugerman is here with us, as well as Ray Manzarek and Robby Krieger. I'm Bob Coburn. We go back to the phones to Chris in New York, listening to K-Rock. Hi, Chris.
Hi.
Hey, man.
Hi, Chris.
All right, I got 2 quick questions for you. The first one, okay, I'm wondering if you ever plan to release Rock is Dead as, say, an EP or a single or anything like that. And the second one, is if you plan to do any more things like you did with the album's Other Voices and Full Circle works without Jim.
Rock is Dead is good, isn't it? It's really underrated.
How did you hear
They
Rock is
should
Dead,
release it.
Chris?
How'd you hear about that, Chris? Rock is Dead.
Well, I hate to tell you, but like I bought a bootleg of the studio rehearsal.
Well, how's it sound?
It sounds kind of faint.
Yeah, that's why we're not going to put it out.
Yeah, it was just a jam, man. We came back after, just going out to eat dinner and getting drunk, and we came back to the studio to record, and we started jamming, and we did Rock is Dead. But unfortunately, Botnick ran out of tape, and right in the middle of it, there's like a 5-minute gap, and the best part, we were really getting down. It's not on tape, and, it's one of those things that...
Listen, they're being modest.
It's legendary, but it's not really very
5 minutes of what they got on that is
What was the other
great.
question, man?
Okay, the other question, I'd like to ask if you want going to do anything.
Oh, yeah. Okay. No, we don't have any plans to do anything. The Doors are part of history, and if we do any music at all, it would be for the soundtrack for the Doors movie, if and when that ever happens.
There you go, Chris. Thank you for calling. We move on now to Denver to talk to Don, listening to 106.7 KAZY. We're running out of time. Don, if you could hurry.
Yeah, I was just wondering, who did the artwork for the Soft Parade album, and how much input did all you guys have in the way that those were designed?
Yeah, that's a good one, isn't it? The stuff on the inside. No, we that came out of the blue, man. We usually had a great input on what the album covers were going to look like, and the covers are what they are. But the inside was something that Bill Harvey, the art director at Elektra Records, had commissioned, and it came out beautifully. I was very impressed with it.
Actually, very beautiful portraits of the band. Robbie, what were you saying?
You talking about the Soft Parade?
Yeah, the Soft Parade, the inside especially. There you go, Don. Thank you for your call. We move now to Fresno, California. 106 KKDJ is our station there. And this is Carrie. Good evening.
Yes, my question is for Ray and Robbie. I wanted to know if you have been approached about getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yeah, right. That's the rumor. That's the talk. The Doors are supposed to receive a star on Hollywood Boulevard.
We told them we wouldn't do it unless we got handprints.
And they said no. But I'll tell you what we do want to do. We want to have a star placed either next to Joseph von Sternberg, Orson Welles, or Igor Stravinsky. Now, those will be names for you to look up. Who is Orson Welles? You probably know. Who is Igor Stravinsky, and who is Joseph von Sternberg? That's where we want to be.
Downplay Doors fans, right? They know.
Great company to keep. Yeah, there you go. Carrie, thanks for your call. Time for one more. It's Rick in Los Angeles listening to 95.5 KLOS. Rick, you're on.
How you doing, Ray? This is Rick, who you talked to yesterday.
Hi, Rick. Hey, man.
The final but not least, my last question is I want to know what was your last conversation with Jim before he passed away?
Excellent question, man. Excellent question. Jim, my last conversation with him was in the control room. We were doing a final mix on one of the songs. We had maybe 2 more to go, and Jim said, listen, you guys, I'm going to take a little vacation here. You guys go ahead and finish those last 2 cuts, and that concludes our deal with Elektra Records. We've finished with 7 albums. We're all done. I'm going to take a break and go to Paris, and I thought that's the best thing you could possibly do, man. I said, God, that's great. Paris, go, write, get yourself together, get away from being a rock and roll star, get back to being the poet that you are. And he said, I've got my notes from Miami. I said, oh, that's incredible, man. I can't wait to read what you're going to do in Paris. Get out of here, go, and take as long as you want, man. And that was the last conversation I ever had with the man on this planet. Robbie, what about you, man?
Golly, I don't really remember my last conversation, but I do know that the last one of us to talk to Jim was John. In fact, Jim called John from Paris a couple of months after Jim had gone to Paris, and they talked about the possibility of doing another Doors album.
Yeah, Jim was very excited about the fact that L.A. Woman was doing real well, racing up the charts, and Lover Madly was a big hit. Robbie wrote Lover Madly. It was one of Robbie's songs. It was an excellent song, and it was, came in number 2 or 3 on the charts, and the album was shooting up, and Jim said, that's great, man. As soon as I get back, let's do a tour, and let's do some more music, and we were all waiting for him to come back from Paris, and as we all know, July 3rd, 1971, Jim Morrison left planet Earth and went into the sun.
I had a real cryptic last conversation with him. He had fallen out of a window at the Chateau Marmont and bounced off the canopy and punctured his left lung, and Jim didn't like going to the doctors, and I was really upset about him going to Paris, and I was like 16 years old. No one cared about what I thought, so the office's job was to insulate Jim from unpleasantness, so I wasn't about to start crying about how little I wanted him to go. But he picked up on it, and he said, you know, that fall I took out of the window was, you know, the cat and the 9 lives trip. Well, that was my 8th life, and if I don't come back from Paris, you know, the cat's run out of lives. And like, I thought, he was a great joker, but I'll never forget that.
He's still with us, though, man. He's in the air. He's in the ether. He's on the TV set. You can watch him with the Hollywood Bowl show. You can
guys
hear him
keep
on the
alive,
records, man. Yeah, we're all keeping him alive. He's alive for all of us, man.
Well, he's certainly been all over the radio tonight in the United States and Canada, and I want to thank everybody for calling and for listening, and let you know you can reach us through the mail at P.O. Box 4383, Hollywood, California, 90078. Next week, a hot double bill with John Waite and the Cruzados from Los Angeles. Then coming soon, Starship, REM, and more, as only Rockline continues to give you the chance to interview the hottest stars in rock and roll live and nationwide in the U.S. and Canada. My thanks tonight to Robby Krieger, to Ray Manzarek, to Danny Sugerman, and to John Dinsmore, who intended to be here but got hung up in transit and could not make it. It's been an extreme pleasure talking with you. Congratulations on the video, on the contemporary feel that it has, the quality of the sound, and it was a lot of fun watching it over the weekend.
Great.
Thanks for being here, guys.
Thank you, Bob.
I'm BC, and I'll be seeing you in a week. You've been listening to Rockline, brought to you in part by Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you. Rockline is engineered by Jimmy Height, Conrad Pignon, Jim Pettyjohn, and Steve Dumais. Mixed on Yamaha professional sound equipment. Special production by Jimmy Rash. Technical direction by Jim Nelson. Our thanks to C.W. West and Kevin Stevens for their special help. Our associate producer is Mark Felsot. Producer Cindy Tolan. Executive producer Howard Gilman. Rockline is a presentation of the Global Satellite Network for distribution in the United States by the ABC Rock Radio Network.
Hope you enjoyed Rockline tonight here on 95.5 KLOS Los Angeles. Excellent show with BC and the guys.
The war is over. Time to live, time to lie, time to laugh, time to die. Take it easy, baby, take it as it comes. Don't move too fast. Then you want your love to last. Are you a moving rocky man? Time to walk, time to run, time to aim your arrows at the sun. Take it easy, baby, take it as it comes. Don't move too fast, and you want your love to last. Are you the moving rescue?
95.5 KLOS, a special edition of Noontime Nuggets with Ray Manzarek of The Doors. That, of course, is Take It As It Comes. I try and play, Ray, on this show some songs that you don't hear on the radio all the time. That certainly qualifies for the first album by The Doors. And we heard The Unknown Soldier, recorded July 5th, 1968. Briefly, what are your recollections of that night before the show, and who were the opening acts? Do you remember that?
Oh, what a night. God, this is an example of what was going on in the 60s. I suppose the top price at the time was maybe $6. Could have been $6.50 for the best seats in the house. And you saw that concert was not only the Doors, but you saw the Chambers Brothers, Time Has Come Today,
which was huge
and
at the time.
Steppenwolf, and the Doors. Can you imagine that show?
What a night.
And it's the 4th of July weekend, July 5th, 1968. Everybody's got firecrackers and sparklers. And when you see the video, you'll see all the people throwing the sparklers and things. You'll hear firecrackers going off. Great night. We had dinner with the Rolling Stones.
Before the show?
Before the show. They were in town recording, and we're getting ready to leave from the office. And who shows up but Mick Jagger? I think Keith was there, Charlie Watts, and... well, hi, mate. What are you doing? Well, you guys, well, we got a gig, you know. Well, you're going out to get anything to eat? Yeah, actually, we're going to go have some dinner. Well, we'll tag along with you. So we got properly soused with the Stones. And by the time we hit the stage, man, we were floating. I mean, it was just the charge of energy to be here in Los Angeles, to be returning home, to be playing the Hollywood Bowl. Everyone was just loaded with energy and just charged. And you could feel it in the audience, the electricity and the excitement in the audience. You know, it was like... the 60s, you know, there it was. It was just happening right in front of us. The summer of love, the summer, the summer after the summer of love, but it was still the summer of love. We carried it over for a couple of years. But there was an energy and excitement in the 60s that, I got to say, I don't really feel today. I find kind of lacking in the enthusiasm of the people out there. You know, I'd like people to get that sense of the spiritual sense of the 60s and regain that sense of power. We sort of had a control of our own destiny, our own fates, and we're kind of letting that slip away. You know, life is ours. The political climate belongs to us. The economic climate is ours if we want to do something with it, and that's what the 60s were all about. And I hope we can recapture that spirit.
I do, too. Let's surprise our audience of today, though. What have you been up to lately? I know you've been out on the road with poet Michael McClure.
Yes. Michael McClure and I have been doing some poetry and piano improvisations. He reads his poetry, and I play behind him doing jazz and some rock and some blues and kind of new age and vaguely classical things. And we just got back from the East Coast. We played in Boston, Bottom Line in New York, and Allen Ginsberg came down. It was a real treat to meet Allen Ginsberg, the great beatnik poet. And he loved it. Ginsberg said, you guys are doing something that's never been done before, or hasn't been done since, 56, 58, the beatniks. And
this is shades of Kerouac and Ginsberg. And
one more time, right. And here I am working with poets again. I always find somehow or another to get involved with people who are interested in poetry, but those are the best minds on the planet are
also,
poets.
You've been working with Echo and the Bunnymen. You did
we did a remake of People Are Strange for the movie Lost Boys, which will be coming out, I think, Friday. And interesting story of teenage vampires. Party all the time, never grow old, except you're a vampire. So People Are Strange fit in beautifully. And the director, Joel Schumacher, real good guy, I met him, and he's terrific. And he wanted to use Echo and the Bunnymen doing People Are Strange. I said, sounds like a great idea. So I did the production on it and played keyboards on it and had a great time. Echo and the Bunnymen are terrific. I also play on their one of the cuts on their new album that's just come out, too.
Let's move ahead to September 15th, which is the scheduled date for the release of the 6 studio albums, remastered and remixed digitally.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's something really to look forward to.
What we're doing is we're taking our entire catalog and we're going to re-EQ it for digital remixes. Paul Rothschild, Bruce Botnick will be in charge of that. I'll lend my ear as best I can. And the entire Doors catalog is going to be brought up within the next 6 to 8 months to complete state-of-the-art's fidelity.
That's great. 5 of the 6 studio albums have been available on compact disc, but not remastered and remixed.
Right.
Now, the best of has been out in Europe and is shipping this week in the United States. And here's what that sounds like, digitally remastered and remixed on Noontime Nuggets on 95.5 KLOS, Spanish Caravan.